you. I'm talking to you. We see it. Talking to you. Are you talking to you? Are you talking to you? You ready? I'm talking to you. We see it. Talking to you. I'm talking to you. Talking to you.
Show number is 563-999-3000. 563-999-3000. Wow. Yo, so in other news, man, I haven't checked. Let me check this
Hey, I'm
real
back
quick.
with a special guest. I'm back with a special guest. First time on Navy Fingers Radio, we got Iron Solomon on, man. Yo, Iron, what up, man?
Hey, Cass, what's good, bro? How you, man?
Chilling, but yo, we had to get. I wanted to get you up here before. I really wanted to get you up here after the Diz battle, but that battle was bananas to me. But then you turned around and dropped this classic with Nitty, man. We got to talk about this shit, man. What was your writing process going into this battle, coming back on Smack after the Murder Mook battle? Your first time back on Smack.
I really just wrote the way that I like to write. I always want to write like that. I just feel like people don't always want to hear that, or it doesn't always land in the building. And you know, as much as like, you know, before the battle, people are saying that, you know, I made more sense on King of the Dot. Like, I think in a lot of ways the type of wordplay and just the type of writing that I like to do, I don't know if it's just, you know, being from New York or whatever it is, I just feel like in a certain way, you know, the ears are a little more attuned to that on URL. So honestly, I just wrote, and that's not to say, you know, that it's not to put one against the other. I like just to say that that's how I like to write. I always like to write like that. And knowing that Nitty is somebody that people look to for that type of, that level of writing and wordplay, their nose is already open for that. So it just made me feel like, okay, like I can get as crazy and intricate as I want to get. And even still, there's stuff that went over people's heads in the building that I think is crazy, is dope too. You know, I'm glad that so much stuff landed, but then like I'm also glad that stuff went over people's heads because you're gonna get to watch it and catch stuff for a long time. You know what I mean? If you like the battle and you keep watching it, like I guarantee they're gonna be Easter eggs for a while for people. You know?
Sorry, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was definitely like, and Cass is funny. He calling on me because I'm definitely part of the media or bloggers or whoever was out there saying that. Man, I don't know. You know what I mean? I actually like the Magic battle too, on top of the Dizzle, but I just didn't know what it was gonna look like in that room against Nitty, who the way that he's rapping now, where it's just no wasted energy. I didn't know if that was gonna hit, but when you stepped into that environment, though, did it set something off in you like, nah, this is like home? You know what I'm saying? Because you seem real comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the thing is like when I was first coming up, like everywhere that I went was like I had to prove myself because everybody would look at me and just be like, all right, this dude, you know, what's he doing here? He's gonna be whack, you know what I mean? And so it kind of just gave me that, you know. It was dope to me that people like didn't get it and thought that I was gonna get washed. Like it just put me back in that mind state of like, oh word, like, all right, let's see what's up then. You know what I mean? And I haven't had the luxury of feeling that way in a while. You know what I mean? I think sometimes when people expect a certain level from you, it's like it's a gift and a curse. And being not only like me being an underdog in a battle, but the whole battle itself was an underdog. Like, it kind of just made me hungry. And I knew that it was like, you know, as much as I take every battle super like crazy serious, you know, it's like coming back to URL after the Mook shit. It's like I knew, you know, it's got to be impeccable. And so I just needed to kind of channel into whatever it was that when I first was coming up, like, you know, maybe dangerous, that people were running for me or just, you know, whatever that energy was and whatever that feeling was, I just knew I needed to go there and come in and just know that that's my space and that, you know, I thrive when there's doubts like that. You know what I mean? It made me almost more comfortable to be doubted. You know.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I am coming into the battle. I thought Nitty was gonna kind of clearly beat you. Honestly, I didn't know if you'd be able to keep up with him in that room.
Say that with your chest, man. Say it with your chest, man. It's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good that you felt that way.
I didn't know you were exactly. In that room, man. I didn't, but you had an amazing performance. It's a classic battle to me. Classic battle. How did it feel?
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that.
How did it feel doing with, putting on the kind of performance you was putting on in that room compared to, because, you've been in all kind of rooms from the grind time days to the King of the Dot. How did it feel to be doing what you were doing in that room in the moment? It was crazy live watching.
Yeah, it was dope, man. I mean, just being surrounded by only those people is crazy. We all the rappers come from different places. We come from different backgrounds, different states, different cities, different, whatever it is. But, ultimately, there's something, psychologically, mentally, culture-wise that just ties us all together. So, as much as there might be differences between people or whatever it is, there's such a, we can relate to each other in a way that, not a lot of people can relate to each other. Who else spends this much time writing fucking words? You know what I mean? It's really crazy. The culture just it's a niche culture. And then you have the people who are at this level of it or who care enough to put in this kind of time and put ourselves through the stress of it. So just being in that room, it's, this is a family element, and there's nobody in there that isn't either super committed to the craft of, writing and creating, or super committed to the, process of documenting the culture, or of, creating and disseminating the culture, media's in there. It's just a crazy environment. And then to be standing there, I'm looking at Danny Meyer's face behind Rum Nitty, he's reacting to my bars, as he gets them, I get to see that. I got, K-Shine, I got Cortez right next to me, you got Jazz right there, you got Smack, just, losing his mind over the battle, to me, that's that was giving me so much just energy, being this is exactly, this is what you want to go for, as much as, the fans, what the fans feel is, super important to me, if you grow up wanting to make an album, you could have 0 fans, and if Jay-Z tells you that he fucks with your project, you probably, go to the grave like a happy man, you know what I'm saying? So to me, first and foremost is me, impressing myself, wanting to prove something to myself, my friends and family, and then right after that is my peers who take this shit as seriously as I do. Those are the people that I really want to impress. You know what I mean? I want the people with that I respect, with the greatest pens, to look at me how the fuck did you do that? You know what I mean? So, and then of course, the fans are right after that, but to just be in that room with those people that I, am also inspired by and look up to. I look up to everybody, no matter where they're at in the game, whether it's, Chess or Twerk or anybody else on that card that I just really, really rock with and respect. I admire them for their talent, no matter what stage of the game that they're at, and I look at them that way. So just being in a room with all of them and be impressing them is that's kind of the ultimate right there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was alluded to in Caps's blog and everything like that. But was the specter of your last performance on URL hanging over as you began the round, or as you just kind of looked at the crowd, you got up there? Did you think about that in the lead up? You know what I'm saying? Or was you know what I mean? Was that a factor in the way that you ended up performing?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I got to take the constructive criticism about what people didn't like about the last performance, and I know that even just reading the comments, like, I've always been a fan of everything in hip hop, period. Like, I don't care if it's South shit or New York shit or underground or commercial. Like, if it's dope, I fuck with it. I want to understand the vibe, and if it's good, like, I get with it. So, just reading the comments and realizing how many people that might just be fans of URL, like, literally haven't even seen me since the Mook battle, and like, or don't even know that I battled since then. You know what I'm saying? So like for a lot of people, this is like my first battle. It's my first battle back to them. So like, if that's the case, I don't want to leave no fans on the table. Like, if there's people out there that really fuck with battle rap that just are so committed to one platform that they don't even know that I've been around recently, then I want to make that impact, because I want everybody to fuck with it, because I fuck with everything. You know what I mean? Like, I always, since I was a kid, I always had the Roots and Jay-Z on the same mixtape, or Company Flow, some crazy underground shit that people might not even know what it is, and put that right next to DMX or whatever else is on the radio, the lock. And so I just fuck with everything. So I want to reach everybody, you know what I mean? And if there's going to be one platform that I'm not reaching, I want to strive to reach all that, just because I love all of it. You know what I mean? It's like you want to participate when you grow up, just loving the culture, being in the culture. Like, you want to participate in all of it. I don't want to be limited. You know what I mean?
Okay, so Iron Thomas. So all right, so you and Rum Nitty had a classic battle. I mean, who you trying to fuck up next? Like, who you trying to get into it with?
I don't know. Like, I'm like, when I decided to come back, like, this was kind of like, as far as my vision extended. Coming back, I wanted to have the freedom to kind of just battle people that I really liked, and not have to worry about career strategy and calculated moves. But at the same time, I always feel like you're telling a story to the fans. The fans want some type of narrative, so you want to make smart decisions and do something that gets people excited about your next move, so you can create these moments, right? Like, the thing that's been the dopest for me is just seeing, Caps, like, watching your blog, and, Rome DMV, he went crazy, and just, like, the fans and seeing how people feel. Like, I know how I feel when I hear music that's fire, I see a battle that's fire, and, like, to be able to make people feel that way, sometimes, you need a narrative involved. And so, I saw these moves, I saw these steps in advance. This battle with Nitty was, my idea. I reached out to Nitty, told Smack and Beasley and Norbs that it needed to be in a small room just like this. And these are steps that I've been building towards for a while, and it feels like the vision that I had for how I could reprove myself and what I'm capable of, and the steps I would need to take to get there. It feels like I've gotten close to where I want to be. You know what I mean? And so kind of just enjoying this moment and seeing what the fans want from me next. And, there's certain people at the top of the mountain that I think it's probably time for me to see at a certain point, but I'm not going to call for it until the fans do. And, we'll see what they say. What do y'all want to see next?
Well, everybody was talking about how JC was going to battle Lil Lux. How do you feel about battling either JC or Lux?
Yeah, if we do the history, I forget what year it was, but, Lux had a whole press conference to call me out a bunch of years ago. A lot of these new fans probably don't know that, you know what I mean? But Lux had he liked to put on a circus, so he had a whole thing with a press conference, and I'm a battle, Iron Solomon, whatever. So there's definitely, like, history there, and we come from the same era. Two guys who are actually on Smack DVD that are still around. I mean, that pool of people is pretty small. So I think that one makes sense. JC is fire. I think if I think if the fans wanted that and it felt right, like it made sense, I could definitely see doing that.
So you open the battle, like as long as it makes sense, you kind of down to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like I said, I think that for me, I want to create these moments, right? So it's like one step always leads to another. I want to create moments like this, man. Obviously, not every battle that you do is going to end up like with the type of reaction that this one has had, but like that would be the goal, is to just have it just be greatness and shit that people can look at as like the fabric of the culture for years. You know what I mean? And so whatever I do, it's not. I'm open to stuff. I'm open to what the fans want, but I also have I have faith in myself and confidence in my vision for being able to decide what the right move is to make sure that the next one after that is the right next step. You know what I mean? Because, especially after everybody really didn't understand this battle and the way that it's come out, and just, knowing that this was my idea, and, same thing with the B Magic, people didn't understand that, but I was like, yo, Magic is fire, and it would be really crazy for me and him to battle, and people didn't understand that. I think at a certain point I have to also just, have confidence in my ability to see the vision of like, where to steer things. But like I said, I also, I think that I'm steering things by showing and proving, and now I'm hearing people say the names that, now they're naming names at the top of the mountain. You know what I mean? Like last week, you wouldn't have asked me about, me versus Lux, or maybe even me versus JC might not have been a question to ask. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to show more than I can say who it makes sense for me to go against, because I'm not necessarily going to call people out at the moment, but I think the moves that I'm making is putting pressure on them regardless. You know what I mean?
Okay, I have a question. Iron, back in the day when y'all was coming up, the agenda was to win, who was the best. Is that the same thing now?
Yes and no. I think less so than it was, depending on the battle. I think more than ever you can just have a great moment and keep your name relevant and be really happy with that. You know what I mean? I think more than ever, and definitely. But there are certain battles that are grudge matches, or certain battles that, like, they do the, you see people doing a must-win battle. This is a must-win battle of this card or whatever it is. I think like, Magic and Av, like, I think Av obviously felt like that was something that he needed to win. I think it's less important, but I think that at the same time, if you had like, Mook and Hollow, or Mook and Surf, or Averb and Lux, like, I think they would want to win. You know what I mean? But to me, like, if, a classic, like, or a battle like this with me and Nitty, like, I dead ass after the battle just didn't even care. Like, yo, that shit just felt so right. Like, I don't even care, like, what people think. You know what I mean? Like, and then you see that that's been a reaction too. Is like, people are online like, yo, I refuse to give a winner. You know what I mean? So I think that's probably the ideal. But I think then there's certain ones that you just, if it's personal, or it's like a history there, or you're vying for the same spot, same spot on the mountain or whatever it is, then there's definitely certain ones that you're gonna have blood in the water. You know what I mean?
All right. Is there anybody you battled off cam that's probably like a crazy battle that we don't know about and shit?
Yeah, I mean, Fight Club definitely has a couple of joints in the vault. Fight Club has mad battles in the vault from a lot of different people. You know what I mean? I battled the dude Locksmith on Fight Club at the Funk Flex car show from Locksmith from LA, and actually that was probably the first time that I did the like whole, like what I did with Jin with his name. I really went off on Locksmith's name like that, and so that's kind of a crazy one, because I feel like the first time when the Jin battle, I feel like kind of brought that now that's a technique that people have in their arsenal, in their weaponry. You know what I mean? Is that type of name flip approach is something that you could do now. You know what I mean? So that one's kind of crazy because it's like actually the first time that really got done like that. But people haven't seen it. Then I battled a dude, which is kind of funny, also at the Funk Flex Car Show. Jesse West, who used to be signed to Bad Boy back in the day. I battled him. And that one was pretty crazy. I gotta use Google. Yeah. Yeah, that one was pretty crazy. The first time that I battled Jin was like 1998, something, 99 maybe, at the Wetlands. I don't even, they might have been filming that, but, that was way back in the day, freestyle shit, before he was even on 106. I think when he when he first moved to New York from Florida and he was just running through the circuit, we battled. And, I battled Awkward back in the day too, actually. That one's crazy. And, somebody filmed it, but it's, it never came out. It was in Kentucky. I mean, back then I was dead ass, like, when I was in school, I would take, my rent money and just like book flights places. And like, if I didn't win the battle, I would really be asked out on my rent money. So I was going everywhere. Yeah.
Fucking gambling and all. What? Like, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, always, man. Always.
Type of shit is that?
Yeah. I was just committed and was like, yo, I gotta, and then they put the pressure on me, and it was like a couple of years in a row where I was just winning everything. And that one was in Kentucky. Me and Awkward's battle in Kentucky. Like I was just, anytime I could find a flyer online for a battle, whatever it was, and this is when you used to have to like, maybe send somebody, mail them a DVD of your footage to get accepted into the battle, or send them a VHS, like, wow. This shit was crazy, man. This shit was crazy.
Yeah, you say, yo, Solomon, you kill me right now, because you know how people had them like, old man, like, back in my day. Like, this is like, you could really kill somebody in that story. Like you look at guys now, and 100%, you get 5 battles in, your ass is on smack. Like, I know that gotta be like, it gotta be kind of crazy to think about, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think it's a gift and a curse, I think that some of the up and comers are spoiled, and not in a way that's like, sometimes that old timer shit is like just jealousy, right? It's like you're just sour that you had it rough and somebody else has it good. And I'm not saying, oh, they're spoiled. I would never be that type of old, I never want to be that way just because, that's just bitterness and jealousy. But to me, when I'm saying they're spoiled, it's just like, I think that like, you saw it in the small room, even some of the people that certain things that works on a big stage, it doesn't work in a small room. They haven't had the luxury of having to work. They didn't have the challenge of having to work through that, so they missed out on. They're spoiled, but it kind of robbed them of like a chance to go through that. You know what I mean? And so, I think also at the same time, it's like as much as it's amazing that you could have like a career and make money battling, like where we, like I said, I was paying money to go to battles, paying money to be in shit, having to, take risks, doing battles for free all the time.
Right.
At the same time, it's like now that you can make the money, people are taking battles for money, and so that's where you see people fuck up legacies and shit like that. Like they can't prioritize because they're used to this being a stream of revenue. You can't prioritize the narrative over the rent. You know what I'm saying? Like people are like, damn,
right.
Like right now, it's like if Twerk's stock goes up because people got him winning against JC, maybe he should chill for a second and like, live with that and then take a big match next. And I'm not singling out Twerk. I don't know his financial situation, but I'm just saying like, right. For instance, if he got to take a battle because this is how he eats, then he might, his stock might go back down if he takes the wrong battle, or if he takes a battle for money just because he has to, or we've seen that happen mad times, right? Like people that it's like, yo, you look at the matchup or the league it's on or the card, and you see what they were coming off of before that battle, you're like, damn, like the rent's due, huh? You know what I mean?
Fact.
Talking to you. You ready? Talking to you. We see it. Talking to you. Are you talking to you? Are you talking to you? You ready? Talking to you. We see it. Talking to you. Talking to you. Talking to you. Talking to you.